Welcome to another story made by Oracle 1. The late afternoon sunlight filtered through the dusty curtains of the attic, casting long shadows across the cluttered room. Eliza Turner, now 38, wiped sweat from her brow and shifted her weight uneasily. Her father's old Victorian house was more a labyrinth than a home after all these years of neglect. Today, she had returned to sort through the remnants of a life she barely remembered, her father's belongings. When the real estate agent called to say the house had finally sold, Eliza had no choice but to confront the past that still haunted these walls. Among the piles of yellowed newspapers, broken trinkets, and forgotten photo albums, one small cardboard box caught Eliza's eye. It was tucked away under the old window seat, wrapped with a faded leather strap. The box looked ordinary enough, but something about it made her heart beat faster, as though it held a secret waiting to be uncovered. With trembling fingers, Eliza undone the strap and lifted the lid. Inside were stacks of letters tied in bundles by color. Most were dated from decades ago, written in a jagged, unfamiliar hand. She sifted through them distractedly until a single envelope slipped out and fluttered to the floor. It was addressed simply, "For Eliza Turner." The script was painfully familiar. It was her handwriting. Her breath caught. She unfolded the brittle paper carefully and began to read. The letter was folded with care, the ink faded but legible. It was dated exactly 20 years ago, on a day when Eliza had been only 18, just before she had left home for college and what was supposed to be the fresh start of her life. "Dear Eliza, if you are reading this, it means I never found the courage to give it to you when I should have. There are things you need to know about your past, about the blood that runs through your veins, things that will explain the shadows haunting you since you were a child. But more than anything, know that I loved you even before you were born, and I will always protect you from the darkness that follows us." Eliza's heart pounded as she continued to read, the words revealing a cryptic and urgent confession from herself. How could she have written this letter 20 years ago and never remember it? Or had someone forged her handwriting? A cold chill crept over her skin. The letter felt like a puzzle piece dropped into the middle of a photograph in which it had never belonged. Yet it fit somehow, startlingly well. The letter urged her to meet a man named Marcus at an address nearby, warning her that discovering the truth would change everything. Eliza's mind spun with questions. Who was Marcus? Why had she written this letter to herself? And what truth did she not know? Determined to uncover the mystery, Eliza grabbed her coat and headed out from the attic into the darkening streets of the small town she thought she had left behind forever. The address given was a rundown apartment building near the edge of town. The kind of place that seemed to hold secrets better left undisturbed. As Eliza walked, fragments of forgotten memories teased her consciousness. A shadowy figure lurking in the hallways of her childhood home. Whispers exchanged in curt tones, a door slammed in the night. The letter mentioned those very shadows, a darkness lurking in her family's history that no one ever spoke about openly. For 20 years, she had buried these fragments deep down, preferring the illusion of normalcy to the gnawing dread of the unknown. When she reached the apartment building, it was already draped in the thick gloom of evening. The peeling paint and boarded-up windows made the place look abandoned. She hesitated at the doorstep, took a deep breath, and pushed the heavy door open. A musty smell hit her, mold, decay, something else, something unsettling. Upstairs down the dimly lit corridor, number 207 awaited. Her fingers trembled as she reached for the faded number and rapped sharply on the door. Silence. She rapped again, louder this time. Suddenly the door cracked open, revealing a narrow face framed by tangled gray hair and piercing blue eyes. The man blinked in surprise. "Eliza, I didn't think you'd come. Who are you?" she demanded, her voice shaking despite herself. "I'm Marcus," the man whispered. "And I think it's time you knew the truth." Inside the cramped apartment, Marcus sat her down and began to unravel a story as tangled and dark as the night that had fallen. He spoke of Eliza's father, not the gentle man she remembered, but a man enmeshed in dangerous dealings, secrets involving clandestine government experiments, and a shadowy organization known only as the Covenant. According to Marcus, Eliza was no ordinary woman. She was a product of an experiment designed to uncover human psychic potential. The blood that ran through her veins held dormant abilities awakened only under duress. The mysterious threats and vivid nightmares from her childhood were warnings to keep her safe, warnings her father had tried desperately to shield her from. "But why did I write the letter?" Eliza asked, voice barely above a whisper. Marcus's eyes flickered with pain. "Because you knew. Even at 18, your mind wanted to warn your future self. It was a way of breaking through the mental barriers imposed by the Covenant's conditioning. You were trying to fight back." Eliza sat back, overwhelmed. If this was true, every memory, every moment of her life was tainted with layers of lies and half-truths. Her identity shattered like fragile glass around her. Suddenly, the door slammed open behind them. A group of men in black suits entered, their faces cold and ominous. "Eliza Turner, you're coming with us," the tallest barked. Instinct took over. Eliza bolted, Marcus close behind her. They dashed through the maze of corridors, the cold metal of the men's boots echoing close behind. Eliza's breath burned her lungs as they fled into the twisting alleys outside. "We can't trust anyone," Marcus hissed as they ducked behind an overturned dumpster, the night air thick with tension. "The Covenant's reach is long, and they want you back." Eliza clenched the letter tightly in her hand. The clue that had started all this, a letter written by herself across time, was both a beacon and a curse. She had to understand why her own mind had warned her, and what this Covenant truly wanted. The chase led them to a forgotten warehouse on the outskirts of town. Inside, Eliza's eyes adjusted to the dark, revealing rows of cells, screens covered with flickering static, and machines humming with life. "This was my father's last refuge," Marcus said, voice echoing. "He tried to save you here, but the Covenant destroyed much of his work." From the shadows emerged a woman, her face marked with years of struggle. "You don't know what you're interfering with, Eliza," she said coldly. "We gave you what no one else could. Power. Power beyond your wildest dreams." Eliza shook her head. "Power stolen from people like me. You manipulated me since birth." The woman smiled thinly. "You could be so much more. But if you choose to reject us, there is only one path left." Suddenly, alarms blared. The room flooded with red light and the echo of footsteps racing toward them. It was a trap. Eliza grabbed Marcus's hand and whispered, "I need to see them, the Covenant leaders. I need answers, even if it kills me." As they moved deeper into the complex, fragments of her own memories came roaring back, visions of faces, choices, betrayals, but also fragments of hope. In a final confrontation with the Council of the Covenant, Eliza stood firm. With the letter as her talisman and the truth as her weapon, she challenged their lies and corruption. In a chilling exchange, secrets were unveiled: the experiments, the manipulation, her father's sacrifice, and the fate of the many others caught in the web. Eliza's own voice, steady and resolute, echoed through the sterile chamber. "I am not your pawn. I am not your experiment. I am Eliza Turner, and I will decide my own fate." The room fell silent. For the first time in years, someone dared to defy the Covenant. The chaotic unraveling that followed was swift and brutal. Allies emerged from the shadows, and the conspiracy cracked wide open for the world to see. 2 decades of silence had ended with one letter. A letter she had written herself to pierce through the darkness of her own erased past. As dawn broke over the horizon, Eliza stood on the hill overlooking the town, the letter clenched in her hand. The truth was out. The shadows had lifted. Some secrets, it seemed, were meant to be found. For more stories, like and subscribe.